Hi, I'm Ray, this is TinyTableGames, and today I'm playing episode 4 of the Mandalorian board game, which is kind of a legacy game since you open packets and things happen, and it effectively replays season 1 of the Mandalorian. This is episode 4, Redemption, by Unexpected Games, not Fantasy Flight Games, as typically one thinks of it, and let's get to it. Moff Gideon lands his TIE fighter out there, and Cara Dune, Greef Karga, and the Mandalorian are all trapped back there. IG-11 is coming from over here. The Empire wins, or excuse me, the First Order wins, if Moff Gideon there ends up in that square he starts in with the baby, because then he hops on his TIE fighter and goes away. The actions you can pick from, since it always changes per turn, or per game I should say, you can plan, which is when you draw those little cards. Intel, ooh, focus. Attack, move, or distract. And distract is a new one. If the number card you play is a 4+, disrupt an enemy with range 1. If they have the child, drop it adjacent to their space. So that's basically the rules. The characters, like I said, IG-11, Cara Dune, Greef Karga, and the Mandalorian. This is only episode 4. I thought this was pretty much the end of the season, if I recall, from season 1. But we are out of maps. It's the last map in the map book, but we have a couple of envelopes to go, so we shall see what happens. Okay, so zooming in so you can see, this is the edge of the map right here, despite the map being drawn out to here. There's not really anything else going on. There is one space right here, but it's right at the edge. The character cards are slightly off screen, which is just right down here, but I'll show you their hands as we get to them. So, I thought I'd talk through a little bit about what's going on. The overall plan was to keep the 3 characters down there at the upper right corner, close to the bar, and just clear a path for IG-11 to make his way down. Cara Dune's special abilities are almost entirely based around her being in the same hex as another character, and so keeping her close enough to move and take the action was kind of critical for getting any value out of like her high-powered abilities. Other than that, it was mostly just clear a path for IG-11 through everything, since you always have to stop whenever you get to a token, whether it's face up or not. And Greef's abilities generally focus around helping either moving himself or other people move with some basic combat, but nothing too fancy. And for a while, it really looked like this game was going to be probably one of the easiest scenarios of them all. The bad guys continue to move up, and Baby Yoda had yet to appear yet. He doesn't show up until you flip a triangle token that has that picture on him, which then triggers Moff Gideon's second stage, which is he moves right towards whoever's got Baby Yoda, and as soon as he gets to that hex, he stops them and takes Baby Yoda, then uses whatever movement he has left to head back towards that square by his TIE fighter, and if he gets there with Baby Yoda, he wins the game. There aren't too many ways of stopping the, and he's invulnerable, by the way, so there's not really too many ways of dealing with that. So your only real option is to keep disrupting him with distractions and whatnot, because that's the only thing that forces him to let go of it. So there's really just that single mechanic there on the left bottom next to moving to cause that to happen. So mostly through this phase, I was just thinking, this game is pretty darn simple, and just kept removing pieces off the board. There's no time limit to it, so you can just park IG-11 over there with that stuff unflipped. Nothing's going to come close to him, because they always attack the nearest ally. So you're really not under a rush. The only time you get into a rush is when you flip that token that triggers Moff Gideon. Once that happens, which it did right there, brought out Baby Yoda, then things start to pick up. And so you have to start using the tactic of disrupting to push people away, and that's the only way to get Moff Gideon to drop Baby Yoda, is using that disruption action. Other than that, he'll just keep marching on towards it. And he's invulnerable, like I said. So really, at that point, the game just becomes a movement management game where, like, you take a couple steps towards the goal, and then you have to push Moff Gideon back. And if you get an unlucky, like I did there, movement in the event draw card for him, that he will move twice towards it, and there's nowhere on the board he can't get to with 2 moves in a row, basically. And take Baby Yoda from you again, so then you have to get within range 1 again to disrupt him again to pick up Baby Yoda, which is like 3 characters worth of actions, which will be enough to trigger his event again, which will have him move towards the baby. So it just becomes this real annoying iterative process. It's not actually fun at this point in the game. It's more just, yes, you see what to do. There's not really any challenge. You're not going to be sniped, most likely, with this, because it's easy to keep the board clear at this point in the game. It's just the Moff Gideon going back and always having enough moves to grab something and run back, and grab something and run back. And you having to keep recycling it and your various cards to make it happen. So while I'm talking about that, and as you can see, things are slowly edging their way over there, I eventually just had to move the Mandalorian up to give myself a couple extra actions so I could do more Moff Gideon, grab the baby, move Moff Gideon, grab the baby. So up until this point in the game, in this scenario, I really thought there was going to be more to it. As you can see, and as I'll go into more detail as I finish this scenario, there's only 4 scenarios. There are 4 maps, I should say. There are more scenarios, as you'll see as I open Packet 1 and Packet 2. But remarkably, Packet 2 is literally the same 4 scenarios you just played through, just quote-unquote harder. So it's kind of like they have like the web gun for scenario 1, and they up the lethality of some of the stormtroopers and whatnot for some of the sessions. So technically it's harder, but you're still doing the same scenarios over. So in reality, you're buying a lot less game than I had originally expected it to be. 4 scenarios, you can play it on regular difficulty or hard difficulty, and then 4 additional scenarios, and then I suppose you can start mixing things up and say, oh, what if 2 mercenaries and Mando tried to do this instead of the original set? And I think that's where they're trying to get the extra playability in. But it just doesn't, it's not that entertaining. And it's really more of a chore, as you can hear in my voice just now. Victory. Okay, after you complete your 4th game, win or lose, flip this card and follow the instructions. Add the following 8 cards: 1 rules card, 1 Mandalorian skill card, and the child skill cards. If you've not yet opened envelope 1, open it now, read the new rule sheet, and then the new components to the game. So Mandalorian picks up another skill card, in which in this case it's the jetpack. That's pretty cool. There's 2 new event cards, which are just huge. And now the baby has some skills. Let's see, what are the baby skills? Protection, force choke, that's funny, hovering pram, and attack. And note, we are out of missions. So there's only 4 scenarios. In here. I feel like they could have made more maps and done less artwork. Let's see, we got a bunch of new tokens, including a ATST and a new attack thing. Armored Menace, the Egg, Bounty Hunters, Recover Stolen Cargo, and a whole new rule supplement. Instead of retelling events from The Mandalorian, you create your own stories. To play a mercenary mission, choose any map and place a mercenary mission seat covering it. I see, so basically it's just how to reuse this stuff. Huh, interesting. So there you have mission 4, and as you can see from Rule Packet 1, you get to start playing mercenary missions, which are go back through, use the 4 map sheets, and then if you pop out all the new tokens, you can start using the characters for different scenarios, whether it's recovering stolen cargo, going after the egg, various other adventures they didn't cover in the initial 4. And it looks like if you go further down, Scenario Pack 2 uses more advanced character cards with even more rules to add in, but still the same 4 maps. So there you have it. There's the basics of the game. I'm not going to go back through and play the mercenary section because that's just the same 4 maps, just with different rule scenarios, which is really not my favorite thing. The game is interesting. I like it. I wish there were more maps and more story to it rather than just the, hey, here's 4 scenarios out of an entire season. Now go play mercenary stuff. I feel like they could have done better than that and included more maps and less artwork, since they could have doubled the number of maps. In any case, I'm Ray. This is TinyTableGames. I hope you enjoyed this. If you didn't, at least now you know you don't like The Mandalorian, the board game. In any case, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for clicking on the video, and I'll see you next time.